Ed, Ed, and Eddy is an animated series that ran on Cartoon Network from 1999 to 2008. At the time, it was one of the network's most popular shows, which led to a bit of merchandise and appearing in other forms of media, such as video games. So, let's talk about them. The first Ed, Ed, and Eddy game was Ed, Ed, and Eddy Jawbreakers. It's a 2D side-scrolling game, developed by Climax Group and published by BAM Entertainment. It was released exclusively for the Game Boy Advance on March 25, 2003. Players control the Eds to collect tickets for a raffle to win a lifetime supply of Jawbreakers. Ed, Ed, and Eddy use resourceful means to earn money, solve physical puzzles, interact with neighborhood children, and find hidden goodies across 29 levels. Players control one Ed at a time, each with its own unique strength and weakness, and may cycle through the three main characters. Each of the Eds has unique abilities. Ed can headbutt, Double D can use a slingshot or a wrench and activate context-sensitive switches, and Eddy can use a hypnotizing wheel or a jetpack. Some of the levels feature cutscenes at their beginnings and conclusions. Ed, Ed, and Eddy Jawbreakers received generally unfavorable reviews, with reviewers like Metacritic rating it 49 out of 100 based on 5 critic reviews. IGN criticized the game's lack of a tutorial as well as the game's timing, with others having similar criticisms mentioning the time limits on the levels and lack of direction. Ed, Ed, and Eddy Giant Jawbreakers is a puzzle game developed by Microspace and released exclusively for mobile phones and released on March 4, 2004. In the game, the player can choose between the Eds. The gameplay revolves around running along a side-scrolling screen, breaking bouncing Jawbreakers into smaller pieces until they are small enough that Ed, or Eddy can eat them. Eating all the Jawbreakers clears the level. Giant Jawbreakers can be deadly, so only smaller ones are chewable. The game's difficulty, of course, gets more intense as you clear more levels. Round 1 only has a single Jawbreaker, but later levels will have multiple to break. There are also the occasional bonus rounds. The game also features many weapons to use. The Eds start out with a basic roped spear, but other weapons later in the game include a slingshot and a yo-yo. The game isn't that popular or well known, so there are no reviews to cover. Ed, Ed, and Eddy The Misadventures was released in 2005 and developed by Artificial Mind and Movement and published by Midway. It was released as a 3D platformer for PC, Xbox, GameCube, and the PS2, with the Game Boy Advanced version being a 2D side-scroller. Players can use the Eds in special tag team formations like the Leaning Tower of Eddy, Rampool Ed, and Batter Ed to complete 8 levels, referred to as scams. The Ed's normal weapons and skills include Ed lifting heavy objects and smashing his head, Double D using a slingshot to hit distant targets and smacking with his ruler in close range, and Eddy using the El Mongo stink bomb to stun enemies, along with using his wallet attached to a chain like a yo-yo. The Game Boy Advance version is a 2D side-scroller with slightly different missions and an additional tutorial level. This version has a stronger emphasis on collecting coins to buy Jawbreakers, although the plot as well as the Ed's special abilities remain largely the same. The game's plot is basically like a bunch of separate episodes, as the game is divided into 6 main levels, each having its own separate plot. For example, in the first level, Fool Your Ed, Ed's attempt to gather ice cubes to sell snow cones in the hot summer weather. And during the second level, Pin the Tail on the Ed sneak into a sewer system to crash Jimmy's birthday party. The game also has 2 bonus stages available in the console and Windows versions of the game. Ed, Ed, and Eddy The Misadventures received generally mixed reviews from critics, with most criticisms revolving around the game's short length and lack of directions, but did praise its graphics and humor. Ed, Ed, and Eddy Scam of the Century is a 2D platformer game released in 2007 by Coart for the Nintendo DS. In the game, each Ed has its own set of levels to complete, with each having its own unique style of movement and attacks. Double D throws dictionaries. Ed slams his head down to attack enemies, and Eddy spits his gum at enemies. Although this only freezes the enemy, it does not defeat them. Item pickups can also be activated on the touchscreen. On top of the platforming elements, the game contains a number of unlockable mini-games, including Whack-A-Zit, where players tap at rising pimples on Ed's back before they burst. There is also a pie throwing challenge where players flick the desserts at the enemies on the top screen. The game features 13 total stages, special attacks using the touchscreen, the option to blow into the microphone to bring characters back to life, 3 side story minigames, and special items. For its story, Ed, and Eddy are heading home from their school when Eddy suddenly notices that his school bag feels a little light. Eddy finds there is a hole in it and all of his stuff is gone, including his precious Who to Scam and When book. The neighborhood kids find the book and realize they have been scammed for years and immediately want payback. The game received mostly negative reviews. It was mainly praised for its presentation and faithfulness to the show, but was criticized for its unresponsive controls, poorly executed gameplay, and bland minigames. There were also a ton of Flash games and a few appearances in other games, such as Ed and Eddy, Cart Attack, Ed Over Heels, Clash of the Idiots, Sewer Rat Balloon Bash, Build the Faces of Ed, and Eddy, Spin Stadium, Ed, and Eddy's Candy Machine Deluxe, Go-Kart Rally, To the Ed Stream, Ed, and Eddy Game, Cul-de-Sac Smash, Cartoon Network Speedway, Gob Gob and Gobby, Ed Touchables, Jawbreaker Mine, What's Your Ed's Name, Cul-de-Sac Smash 2, Wheels of Fury, Dunkin' Dine, Cartoon Network Block Party, Lunchroom Rumble, Create Your Own E-Card, Night of the Living Ed, Ed, and Eddy, The Misadventures web browser version, Candy Factory, Nightmare in Space, Ed, and Eddy, In Crack Eds, Cartoon Network Coloring, Ed, and Eddy, Toy Twister, and Cartoon Network All-Stars. I hope you enjoyed today's look at Ed, and Eddy games. If you'd like to see this style of video done with other shows or franchises, please let me know in the comments. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel and like the video, as they both help me out a lot. Thanks for watching.